Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Friday evening. We made it. We made it to the end of the week. We made it to the weekend. Hope everyone's doing good. I have a little bit of Seahawks news to report in this video, and what I'm about to say is not the biggest deal in the world, or the fifth biggest deal in the world, or even the 500th biggest deal in the world, but it kind of got me thinking about a few different things with regard to this team and their current roster and what they might be doing in order to finalize things before the draft. So, earlier today, we got a little bit of news, and again, I want to stress this seems pretty minor because it is, but I think this is worth discussing. The Seattle Seahawks, as I reported a couple days ago, have re signed Damarious Randall. However, they are not going to play him at safety, supposedly, which I expected. I thought he was going to be our safety, a backup safety for Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs. I thought he made a lot of sense in that role, but apparently, we are going to move him to corner. This PFT article goes into it. He'll be playing a new role in 2021. They announced that Randall will be playing cornerback this season. Randall was a safety in college, but he played corner after being drafted by the Packers in the first round of 2015. He moved back to safety for Cleveland, and he played safety for the Seahawks in 2020, last year, for the little bit that he played on defense. So that's a little interesting because if you take a look at this depth chart, which I've updated with this information, we now have Damarious Randall as our fifth string cornerback. I'm not sure what the logic is behind this move because Damarious Randall is 5'11 and his wingspan is like 74 and a half inches. That's not the size or length that Carroll likes in his cornerbacks, his outside corners. So right away, when I looked at Damarious Randall's measurables, my first thought was, well, this guy can't possibly be an outside corner in Pete Carroll's system. So then I think, well, maybe he's going to play nickelback, but we don't need a third nickelback, not right now anyway. Amadi played really well last year at nickel, and Marquise Blair has potential, and we liked him enough to at least try him at nickel last year before he got hurt. So, what is the logic behind putting Damarious Randall at corner? Because it doesn't seem to me he's a very logical fit for either corner spot, outside or nickel. So, if you take a look at this depth chart, it seems like the Seahawks are currently going for a quantity over quality approach when it comes to cornerbacks. They've now picked up two guys this offseason, and they brought back Ryan Neal on top of the guys that they were keeping. Just, they still had their contracts, DJ Reed and Trey Flowers. Ryan Neal got picked up. His restricted free agent tender, and Witherspoon and Randall have been re-signed from now free agency. But yeah, this is kind of interesting, and it kind of got me thinking about something with this roster because as of right now, this square of players right here represents a 53-man roster, and it's a very typical 53-man roster. We have two quarterbacks, five backs, nine pass catchers, by which I mean receivers plus tight ends, 10 offensive linemen, 10 defensive linemen, four linebackers, and 10 defensive backs with three special teams players. So this is pretty typically balanced for an NFL team in the modern NFL, right? So that doesn't account for the fact that rosters are now a little bigger. The rosters from week to week are now 55 players large. And I think you can have 48 of those players active from week to week. Now, there are special rules around the extra two spots that rosters have opened up over the past year. I think this last year was the first year they did it, where it has to be a player promoted from your practice squad, and they can only be active twice a year. But nevertheless, as I understand it, those are the rules. So the question is, as we look at this roster, it kind of got me thinking, where are we going to use those two extra roster spots most of the time? I understand we're not going to be doing the exact same thing every week, but I think that it's a good idea to start looking at this roster and thinking, where could we use an extra two players from week to week? Because whoever you don't have, has to be on your practice squad, and you only have 12 practice squad spots. So where does this roster need a little bit of a push in the right direction? Because when I heard this news about Damarious Randall, my initial reaction was, we better not think we're done at cornerback now. Because while I understand that the team may have some level of excitement about these top five players, Witherspoon has a lot of potential and he's got the right body type for a Carroll defense. DJ Reed played really well last year. Trey Flowers was good before 2020, and Ryan Neal showed a lot of promise last year. And look, I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. Damarious Randall, if you go on any Packers website or comment section that involves Packers fans, they're going to laugh about how dumb an idea it is to put Damarious Randall back at corner because he was so bad at corner for the Packers for the 3 years he was there. But putting that to the side for a second, putting aside the fact that I don't think he's going to be a very good corner in this defensive system, the team clearly believes that he can do something as a corner because we brought him back. So, right or wrong, the team is currently intrigued by his potential at corner right now. So, that being the case, you can see this depth chart is really starting to get filled out. And you got to remember, we already have 3 defensive backs on our practice squad, and we still don't have a dedicated backup safety. Not that that necessarily matters. If one of these guys gets hurt, we're probably going to move over Blair or Reed or Neal or Randall. I mean, just because we say right now that Randall's going to be the a cornerback doesn't mean we can't move him to safety later if we have to because somebody won't goes down. But the fact that we decided to announce that we're moving him to cornerback gave me pause. It made me concerned that we're going to think we're good at corner now, and I really don't think we are. I think so little of Damarious Randall that I think he's going to be the 5th corner on this team, meaning that in an ideal world, he'll almost never get on the field. But with the extra roster spots, maybe this is just how we're going to take advantage of the bonus roster spot every week, 2 bonus roster spots a week, because one other thing that happened earlier this week was that we started kicking tires on a bunch of offensive guards, interior linemen. Cody Wichman was the last one. He visited the Seahawks a couple days ago. Earlier this week, we looked at a Chance Warmack, who was a Seahawk last year and then opted out because of COVID. Danny Isidora also came in. All 3 of these guys are, veteran minimum type guards. And as you can see, if you look at my depth chart, we already kind of have guard locked down. Gabe Jackson and Damian Lewis are clearly starters. Jordan Simmons, we just brought him back on a free agency contract, so we at least like him that much. Philip Haynes is still in his rookie deal, and I still think we believe he has at least some potential. So, in theory, on a week to week basis at least, guard spot is locked up. We have 4 guards on this roster who we seem to have some degree of trust in to fill their role. So, could we be kicking tires on other guards because we want to carry 11 offensive linemen this year, that we want to carry an extra interior lineman, somebody to be a backup to Simmons and Haynes? And that could be the way in which we're planning to utilize one of our extra roster spots. And maybe we're going to have an extra cornerback on the team to utilize that extra roster spot. So I know that the Damarious Randall thing doesn't sound like the biggest deal in the world. To me, I'm kind of thinking, how is he going to play corner in this scheme? He doesn't really fit in. But maybe we're going to move Blair to safety and have Randall play nickel. His body type is a little more fit to play nickel than it is outside in this defense, I think. Maybe we think that he can overcome his size limitations and be effective in this defense. I don't know. Maybe we change our minds before the season starts, but I thought this was interesting, and it got me thinking about those 2 extra roster spots, and maybe this is one of the ways we're going to be utilizing that bonus roster spot. So let me ask, how do you guys want to use those 2 extra roster spots? Who do you what position do you want to make extra additions at? Do you want a 7th wide receiver, a 4th tight end, an extra interior lineman, an extra defensive lineman? What do you think? Obviously we're probably going to add one more linebacker at some point. So, that has to be kept in mind as well, but it's something to think about as we wind down the back end of free agency. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. Once again, the main thing I want to take away from this video, Damarious Randall moving to corner despite him not really possessing the body type to play on the outside and us seemingly being good at nickel corner. But I'm keeping an eye on the domino effect of this. Could we see Blair move back to safety? Time will tell. All right. Peace out, Go Hawks. See you guys in stream a little later tonight. You guys know how we do it. And yeah, see you later.